Hello again, it's Chris from FOREX Therapy, where the Forex market intersects with philanthropy. And today is Friday, April 17th. It's the end of a trading week, and in a few hours, the market will be closed for the weekend. And so I bring our attention back to yesterday on the 45-minute chart where we witnessed a very nice trend breakout here. And overnight, of course, I would have been delighted if after retesting the trend line, retesting the breakout, it would have moved on down 60 pips to this previous level of support, and we would have $600 profit with a standard lot. It pulled down, and then it stopped, and then decided to go back and retest that line. That happens. I will say that in the early morning hours, there was some anxiety on my part about maybe this wasn't a breakout, and what if this crossed the line and went back up again? That has been known to happen. That would be not a happy place for me because I'm trying to show you how this works and I don't need that to happen, but it can. And it appears that it hasn't. And so I can speak more comfortably at this hour, about the usual time when I'm recording this video session, that I believe it is the real retest of the trend line in the breakout. It's hard to see at the moment, and I'll have to zoom in, but right here, it approached and may have touched it. Up here, it touched it for sure. So these lines are drawn by me and by the user, so the market doesn't respect them because the market doesn't even see them. It's just what I'm drawing for my own purposes of measurement. So for all intents and purposes, this was either one or two or one retests of the breakout. Okay, so let's zoom in to a more micro moment so we can see what's been going on. And I think I'll go even further. Is this going to be good enough? I think this works. I'm on the 5-minute chart. So yesterday, when I recorded, we had this breakout and it headed down nicely. And as I expected, around noon, it stalled for the afternoon session of let's meander for a while. And that's all this was. This went until about 10 o'clock last night. So about 10 hours worth of ranging within these trend lines that I've drawn here. But I felt comfortable. Oh, see, yeah, this high point didn't quite touch my line. However, earlier today it did. So again, just back to that retest, just when you think it's done it, it may not. So just to be aware of that. So during the day, I did not trade any further. Once I placed my sell order, which is this gold line here, which seems awfully low, but in the big picture, it doesn't seem low. Low meaning right below this trend line. One would think, well, get in right as soon as you can. But if we go back in time, see what happened here? If I'd had my entry higher, which would be nice right about now, it would have been tagged by this wick. And while it didn't range backward too much, it could have. And so it could have brought me back up, whoops, tagged my entry, but then put me underwater right away. So one way to guard against that is just to set your entries lower. And the downside to that is you have to watch all of this activity, which is underwater. If I could shade everything above the yellow line right now, that's all in the negative. But we're heading to the positive, which is the green. And this is what you have to do to ride the waves, as it were. So let me zoom in a little bit closer about yesterday afternoon. When I say afternoon, I'm talking about California. I realize it's different everywhere else. In Asia, it's morning. Good morning. So you can see that even if you didn't catch this entry, there were so many other opportunities to enter the market, especially up here. I could have waited. So this is an idea. I could have waited, not entered this breakout, waited for the market to retest, and then as soon as it did, come in underneath it. So here at 86 versus 845, I could have placed my order here. But we're talking about a small number of pips. I mean, actually, that's 15 pips. That's $150. You know, that's nice. But considering the longer term goal that I'm going for, that's what I'd call scalping. You're just trying to just eke out a few more pips. But many traders will do that, and that's fine. It's a little more risky. So we have, without zooming in closer, we have a small channel here that broke out. We have a larger, more medium-sized channel here, and that broke out. Then we have this one, which is kind of a double. I'm trying to figure out where it's really hard to say. This was original. It's really hard to say. And this is the tricky part. I know some of you are struggling with where's the entry, when it always looks like you get your 3 points of confirmation, then whoops, now you find another 3 and then another 3. I try to stay as parallel as possible. Again, that's not the market's decision, that's mine. But you can see that when you have perfect parallel channels, I see a lot of happiness because I get the kind of breakouts I want ultimately, even though it's just in my world. Okay, that looks more realistic. You've got a 1 here and a 2 here, and kind of a 3 here right before the breakout, and then followed by a retest, and then a movement. So I'm going to keep that drawing the way it is. And then here's a little micro channel in here. So yes, I'm in market, and I'm not going to trade anymore after the initial, but there was 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities before finally, and this is probably about bedtime for me, so I may not have seen this happen, we got the breakout overnight. So again, surfing is the analogy. You're riding a wave, you're scalping some pips here and there, and you're making your day. That's one way to trade. Okay, so it broke out, and I'm wanting to wake up, and this red line is just way down. Just drop, please, drop. Maybe because it's Friday and it's the end of week, and it's getting soft in terms of, you know, traders' responsiveness. Because again, what's moving these candles up and down are people like you and me and about a million others. We're the ones buying on this impulse here and selling on this impulse here. So we're to blame and to thank for the price action that's going on here. There's no magic force in the universe, basically, that's doing this. It's the market, which are the consumers and traders. So we're driving this market. So lo and behold, as I am awakening at about 6:30 this morning-ish, if you look at the vertical dotted line, let me just take you there. That's about right, more or less. Okay, so if you look at the right hand of the screen, that's what I'm seeing. That, because that's all I can see, because that was what it looked like at the time. And what would I be thinking? Now, I hadn't drawn these trend lines yet. I'm like, if this was going to retest, if this was a retest of this trend line here, draw it out, draw it out. Well, it broke through. So this pullback, which I would have expected or preferred it to be a retest of this breakout, it went on further, or was heading on further. So admittedly, there's a little fear of, maybe if I zoom out, remember forest for the trees, maybe I look at the forest, something bigger is happening and I'm too down into the weeds and into the trees. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there and I'm watching and I'm moving this over as time goes by. And then I'm thinking, well, if you take this trend line out for the moment, I'm seeing what looks like maybe an upper trend line forming, because the price is conforming to this imaginary line. And theoretically, even though it's not perfect parallel, you have to pardon me while I make these little charts here, little lines. You know, this could be what I just drew, even though that's more of like a tapered uptrending triangle, you can see I got my 1 and my 2 and my 3 points of confirmation. Well, again, not perfectly parallel, but I had my 3. So you see, in retrospect, I can go, oh no, that's not what was happening at all. But in real time, you don't know any better, and you're thinking, okay, if it's going to end up being a nice parallel channel, then ultimately it'll look like this off in the future. But do I want to wait? Do I want to give up? Do I want to take a loss and just move forward? So these are the thoughts that are going through the head. So we move along, and okay, let's take this little line out. Okay, now it looks like we had a stall because it was pushing up, 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 not so up. And so it's a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, still kind of a higher low, but then not so much a higher high at this moment in time. Maybe this was the touch, this was the retest that I'm talking about, and it's going to pull back. Also notice what I'm seeing at this moment in time, or in that moment in time. We're in past tense still. I'm seeing yet another channel, an uptrending channel forming here, small one, and that if it tops out or double tops out, then it will reverse or retrace. Okay, so I'm feeling better. Oh, look, it did. Yay, it did. Okay, and here we are. So what looked like this little uptrending wedge has now revealed itself to be, sorry, this is real live TV. Now I feel better that we have the parallelogram. Did anyone take geometry? I actually did well in geometry. I didn't really love it, but I kind of had a sense of how it worked. So who knew that decades later that I'm making money on geometry? So we see our 1 and the 2. This is going to be a 3 in a moment. And within a short moment after that, it's going to break out to the south end. This would now be the stall of this rally. So it's up, 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 stopped, pulled back, didn't quite make it all the way to the top or beyond. It fell short. So remember, the 2 points to this strategy is if you've got three touches on a trend line, the fourth is going to break out. And optimistically, you have a clue that the rally has stalled or stopped above that breakout, which it has here. And that's the magic formula. Where will it go? Well, in this short term, it'll go to about here because you have a previous level of support. So that's 10 pips of profit in this master trade. Again, I'm not giving up on the big trade, the big order, but I could just say, okay, this has been exhausting. I'm going to go into my weekend, assuming it gets this far by 2 o'clock this afternoon. I could just take profit here. I've got 10 pips, it's $100. And I can go, well, that was a nice 24 hours. Now I'll start again fresh on Sunday afternoon. I'm not going to do that, but you could just, if this whole push upward was making you nervous and like, oh, this is just going to keep going, you can just get out. And a good place to get out would be here, and you would still have profit. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out, and assuming that I'm not going to exit this trade, which I sure as heck am not interested in doing, what I'm now seeing that may emerge, and again, it's not this massive movement downward like I'm wanting, but what I hesitate to draw too many lines because it gets to be crazy on the eyes, but I'm just going to clone that for a second. Okay, so Naturally, I want this breakout to just keep going way on down to my level at 785, that's 60 pips, we're done. If this remains or conforms to a parallel fashion, as it tends to want to do, it may hit here, and then up, and then down, and then up, and down. But then after 3 touches, then it will go on. That is quite possible. I've seen that done, particularly because we're trading a very large, let's go back to 45 minutes. We're trading a large movement, which, as I had said yesterday, started like April 2nd. What is today? The 6th, that's 2 weeks ago. This is a 2-week move. So why should we assume that when it's going to just drop, it's going to happen in 24 hours? I'm not going to say this is going to go for 2 more weeks, but I could easily see this range here just kind of moving along, and yeah, it'll be underwater for a while too. But as long as this holds firm, as long as it does not break through and cross over and hold above it, we're good. So there's going to be a lot of red numbers on the trade platform, you know, a lot of negative, but then I believe it's worth the wait. Or get your 100 pips, get out, and you can always jump back in on Sunday or Monday. Anyway, those are the options, and that's what it's all about. It's not, there's no one way. There's conservative and there's more assertive. So you, as a trader, have to make those decisions. And I, of course, will continue to coach you on what I'm doing and what maybe you should do, and I should do, but you shouldn't do, however the case may be. At any rate, I'm going to end it right there and wish you all a happy weekend and stay safe. And again, questions about trading a demo account. I know that after you've watched these videos a few times, the next step really would be to open a demo. I know in the first couple of videos I said, you know, $100 gets you a live account and start trading. You can trade a demo account with the broker of your choice, and they can fund it. I mean, they're not funding it, but they could put in, you know, $5,000, $10,000. Let's get crazy, and then just trade that. Follow the directions. Try it on your own. Experiment, and if you feel comfortable, or when you feel comfortable, then you can make the leap into a live account. That's a smart way to go. Plus, you get some practical hands-on experience. So once again, I would invite you to watch an earlier video, and I talk about the different brokers available. You can find them online. Pick one of your choice and get a demo account and take it from there. Because, you know, right now this is ranging, so I'm not making much profit today, but for the long term I am. And I don't see any reason why anybody should just sit back and watch when you can join in and make the same profit yourself or more. All right, enough of that. I wish you well, and I will speak to you, if not Sunday afternoon, Monday for sure. Very good. Take care. Bye-bye.